Our purpose in life is to seek knowledge every single day, then turn around and pass the torch of knowledge on to someone else. If you want to leave a legacy, seek knowledge and pass the torch. All right, we are on another episode of Pass the Torch podcast. Today, I have someone who I consider a good friend, also a mentor in many ways as well, Marcelo Medrano. Brother, thank you so much for being a part of Pass the Torch podcast, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, Levante, thank you for having me, man. I think that what you're doing is a really great thing, and it's a great platform to help people grow, and I'm excited to be here and be a part of it.
Appreciate it, brother. We've been trying to get you on the show for a while. Been to a few events together, had amazing conversations, and it's always been, we need to record this. I wish, like some of our conversations we had in the past, that I just picked up the voice memo and recorded it, and I'm sure today's going to be that too. So I'm very excited to be able to share you with the Pass the Torch podcast audience. And the first thing that I usually get into is asking each guest what is their why for their business, or what's their why for the path that you're taking on your journey today.
So that one is something that actually comes really easy to me. There was a point in my life when I used to say, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to drive, that luxury vehicle. And that luxury vehicle has changed many, many times, right? So I've been after this lifestyle that you see a lot of successful people living. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I met my wife and we had our first child that I started thinking to myself, well, why do I want to be a millionaire, right? Why do I want that money? And then I started jotting down my list of, hey, what is it that is driving me to want those things? And well, that why is my family. I want to build wealth so that I can provide my family all the opportunities that I didn't have growing up. I grew up poor in the Bronx. I'm a child of immigrants. My mom is from the Dominican Republic. My dad's from Honduras. So, when they moved here, their job was to grind it out, work wherever they could to make some money to be able to feed their kids. And, that's what they knew. That was their truth. That's the level of education they had. And so I worked really hard to make sure that I can give my kids the opportunities they didn't have. And, when I get to 55, 60, I want to be able to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm ready to move on yeah. and enjoy my life, enjoy my grandkids at some point, when I get to that point. And I want to be able to give my parents some of the things that they never had. And so it's the reason that I work hard to be successful in my life so that I can give my family the things that they never had. And along the journey, I learn a lot. So to be able to share that with some of the people that I speak with, some of my colleagues and friends, is a blessing.
No, that's super powerful. I mean, that's the motto of Mentorch is leave a legacy, and that sounds like that's like something that drives you, is making sure that you're able to make it better for those who are coming after you, but also those who paved the way for you. And that's absolutely phenomenal. And that's something that, just listening to you, I know that that's a fire that cannot be extinguished every day, no matter how hard things get. Like, that is something that will drive you, especially because it's external. Meaning the people that are around you are what's motivating you. It's an internal mission, but those people around you, you're driven for them. So that's super powerful.
One of the guys that I listen to, Brendan Richard, he talks about, us being like a power plant. Mm-hmm. We don't get energy, we generate it, right? We don't get joy, we generate joy. And so a lot of people that are unhappy or don't have energy or don't have drive, they fail to realize that they're not going to get that from the outside. They have to generate that within themselves and then project that out to the world. And so I think that's a powerful thing that he says, we're just like a power plant. We don't We don't get energy, we generate it.
Absolutely.
So I love living my life that way, understanding that if I'm not happy today, it's my job to make sure that I create that through my thoughts and words and actions, and that if I don't have energy, I go out and I do the things that are necessary for me to generate that energy.
Most definitely. What's like right now your everyday grind look like? What are you into these days?
Um, so at the beginning of this year, I've been listening to a lot of folks that are great speakers. Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Gary Vaynerchuk,
Mm-hmm.
and I started looking around my world, and I thought about some of the people that have mentored me in the past and that have I've viewed as great leaders. And one of the things that they all have in common is they're great speakers, right? They're able to get up in front of
Yeah.
a group of people and share their story and make people see how it is that they became successful and how they can do the same. And so I decided, you know what? I really want to be a better public speaker. I want to learn how to share my story and my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I'm able to add value to people that through telling my stories and the
Absolutely.
things that I've struggled with and where I came from. We tend to look at people on a stage or people that are successful entrepreneurs and think, oh man, they're lucky, they have it easy. I can never get to that, right? Because I don't have enough money, or I can't speak, or I don't know how to use social media. I don't know where to find the information. Not realizing that the people that we're watching have gone through the same struggles that we're going through now.
Yeah.
And so when I decided I really want to start doing more public speaking and focusing on sharing my journey and how I've become a great leader and how I've learned to grow myself, I said, you know what? I want to start sharing that with other people that want to go down that path and let them see that there are many paths to the same outcome, right? If you want to be successful, there are many ways to get there. And I grew up poor in the Bronx. I went right into the military out of high school. I didn't go to college. Still haven't, right? I don't have a college degree, but I feel successful.
Yeah.
And I know I'm successful, and I've learned a lot through my journey. And some people think, well, I don't want to go to college, or I'm poor, or I don't know how to do that, and because of those things, they limit themselves and they don't go after the things that they want because they think, well, I'll never be able to do that. So one of the things that I'm doing now is, I'm trying to get out and speak as much on the topic of personal growth and some of the struggles that I went through getting to the point that I am now. I spoke at a leadership conference this last Friday, and look, when a lot of people meet me, they say, "Oh, Marcelo, you're a really confident guy, right?"
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, when I pulled into the venue at this conference, I sat in the parking lot and I thought to myself, I can't do.
What?
Cannot,
What?
I was like, I can't do this. I had a big knot in my stomach.
Yeah.
I wanted to vomit, and I'm thinking, come up with some reason to go home and not have to do this, And I said, no. One of the things that I talk about in my session is about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I forced myself to get out of that vehicle, and I went upstairs and I did my session. It was a 1-hour session, and I shared my experience in the parking lot with the audience. I was transparent. I told them exactly what I was going through, how I overcame it, and I had a ton of people come up to me afterwards and say, "Look, we're going through the same thing. I would like to be a better public speaker, or I wanna become an entrepreneur, but I'm afraid." And there are these limiting thoughts that keep going through my head. And to hear you speak about the struggles you're going through, and you're still up here imparting some knowledge on us, motivates us to go out and do the things that we want to do.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah. So I get out as much as I can. I go to a lot of networking events, and not necessarily for what I can get out of it, but more about what value I can bring to others.
Yeah.
A lot of people focus on money, right? For me, I focus on helping people.
Mm-hmm.
because I know that if I help people, if I bring real value to others, the money's going to come. The money's going to come eventually. And so I don't focus on the dollar amount. I focus on the impact I can have on others.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people who would be sitting in that audience, watching you and be like, man, that's crazy. That's because that's something that I'm working on as well. One of I'll call him my speaker mentor, Dom Fawcett. Just an absolute dynamic speaker, and yeah, I listened to his journey. He challenged me to speak. Actually, I had him on the podcast, and he was like, "Go out there and find somewhere where to speak," and that's when Ignite Annapolis actually came up. And then I said, you know what? Okay, he just challenged me to go do it. So I know exactly, where you're coming from getting up there and being nervous and yeah, I can't imagine doing that in that capacity. Where I got to talk on a topic that was more. I got to kind of not make it up, but like it was based on a story in my head about ostriches and things like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, are people gonna laugh and how are they gonna receive this? And
Right.
after they were like, oh, that's interesting, and I said the same thing to my wife. I just thinking back, said the same thing to my wife in the parking lot. I was like, oh, guess it's because I actually gotta go do gotta go do this. But so what did that look like when you made up your mind? You said I'm gonna do this speaker thing. You actually got a talk, and you're starting to build your essentially speaker reel. Like how do you feel about that? Are you excited? Do you feel like wow, that fear maybe was founded, but I shouldn't have been as scared as I was or worried in the first place.
Yeah, I was nervous up until about 2 minutes into my talk,
Yeah.
and then once the information started flowing, it, the nerves went away, right? Because I'm talking about my own journey and how I've used personal growth to grow myself.
Hmm.
So I know my story like the back of my head, right? Because I'm the one living it, so it's real easy to share that. But one of the key things that I've done is I know I want to be a public speaker on personal growth and leadership.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, if I want those things, I need to go to the very top,
Hmm.
and follow some of the best people that do it. And so I had the opportunity to meet John Maxwell at a conference at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And through my years that I served in the Marine Corps, John Maxwell's books were on the commandant's reading list almost every year.
Yeah.
So I got very familiar with his books. And after I met him and I watched him speak live, I was like, John Maxwell is so comfortable on a stage. He sits in a chair with a drink and he comes out and he says, I'm your friend. Right? That's how he opens up the conversation.
Hmm.
And it flows. It's so fluid the way that it flows, and he's so comfortable up there. And I thought to myself, that's how I want to be. I want to be so comfortable on that stage that people don't realize that I'm on a stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
They feel like they're in a room having a conversation one-on-one with me. And so I decided to join the John Maxwell team because they do speaker training, coach training, and they're teaching you how to become a better speaker.
Yeah.
They're teaching you how to become a better coach and mentor within the personal growth and leadership realm. And so I think that if there's anything that you're after, whatever it is, you want to be the best accountant, or you want to be the best entrepreneur, you want to be the best doctor, you have to go out and find the people that you want to emulate, right? The people that you want to be like, and ask them to mentor you. Most successful people are willing to share their knowledge and share how they got to where they are. Because it strokes their ego a little bit, right?
Yeah.
For somebody to be asking them, hey, share your journey with me. I want to know how you became so successful, and you gain a lot from that. Some people are afraid to surround themselves with people that are more successful, that have done more, because they feel inferior. when it should be the other way around, right? You should surround yourself with those people because you can learn from them.
Absolutely.
And most of them, like I said, are willing to share their journey with you and help you grow.
So you're doing the the speaker experience, getting more knowledgeable and getting some of those under your belt. Is that your most excited project right now, or what's the favorite project you're working on right now?
Yeah, I would say that's my favorite one right now. I sometimes I think I take on too much. There's a few other things.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I think I told you in one of our conversations. I got hired by Northrop Grumman a month and a half ago.
Absolutely, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And it's a really fun role. It's exciting. I'm learning a lot. But it's really demanding. It's a really demanding job. Mm-hmm. I also do some consulting in the manufacturing realm, and I've got some instructors that teach manufacturing courses at places like Amazon, and some of the other big manufacturing companies in the area. So I stay pretty busy, but really where I want my life to go is the public speaking realm.
Definitely.
Because every conversation I have, every interaction I have, I find myself talking more and more about personal growth. And I know that personal growth has changed my life. Mm-hmm. And learning about it and learning how to do that has changed my life. And I want to be able to share that with others and help other people grow.
So everybody has a story about how mentorship played a role in their life. And a lot of the times it's how it did play a role, and then sometimes it's how it didn't. And on your journey, especially with public speaking, about leadership and personal development, did you have people who were, they were motivating you along the way, they were giving you great advice, or has it been a fight inch for inch to try to break into this domain?
Well, one of the most important things for me is, surrounding myself with good people. And I'm talking about the people closest to me, right? Mm-hmm. My spouse, my family. And you don't choose your parents, right? You don't choose your you don't choose your siblings. But a lot of times, those are the people that are holding you back, right? Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are saying, well, why are you doing that? Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to be hard or impossible. You should maybe look at a different route. And, a lot of times it's out of the goodness of their heart, right? They're truly, genuinely, concerned for you, and they want to make sure that you succeed. But a lot of times that mentality holds us back. And like I said, I mean, you can't just kick your wife to the curb. You can't just get rid of your, you can't just get rid of your parents or your siblings.
Yeah.
But what you can do is start spending more time with the people that are saying, yeah, man, you can do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go after that thing. Mm-hmm. If you don't know how to do it now, you can go out and learn it, right? It's 2019.
Right.
If you want to learn something that you don't know right now, the information is there, right? The information's there. It can be found somewhere, whether it's a phone, a computer, the library. So I find that everyone I meet is my mentor, right? And that's a mentality that I shifted into over time, and I never saw it that way.
Yeah.
But hearing other people's struggles and hearing other people's journeys is a form of mentorship for me.
Absolutely. Right? I see what you. Yeah, no doubt.
Right, because when in the public speaking realm and trying to help other people grow, my journey is only one. Uh-huh. But if I get to hear other people's struggles and the things that they're concerned about, the things that they're afraid of, I can use their stories to become a more well-rounded speaker. I have more to speak about, and I can relate to a bigger crowd. I served in the Marine Corps for 13 years, and I had a lot of great leaders in the Marine Corps, and great mentors. And after I got out, I thought to myself, well, who am I going to go to learn from, or to ask the hard questions about life or money or business?
Yeah.
And over the last few years, one of the things I've learned is everyone can be your mentor.
Hmm.
Everyone can be your mentor. You can learn something from everyone you meet. Even the stranger on the street can teach you something just with a hello. You know, their facial expression, their body language, helps you learn about people and how they interact with each other. And so I take every opportunity to soak in the energy and the vibes and the words and the feelings that people are putting off, and I use that to grow myself.
I love it. I mean, that's a very humble way to look at it because, especially for people like us, I think, alphas. I won't say it doesn't matter, whatever
Yeah.
gender, but alphas, like you're trying to be the best in your domain. You're trying to learn as much as possible, and it's counterintuitive to think, hold on, I can learn stuff from anyone that I meet. I can glean some type of value from every interaction. But I think if you are able to humble yourself in that manner, like you're opening yourself up for insights that no one else will be able to make available to themselves because they're like, well, I've been doing X, Y, and Z for this many years. I'm the expert. I know
Yeah.
better. I know best. So no, I love that. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, and to add to that, right? People, the reality is, no one can make it on their own. But at the same time, everything that you do in life, everything that you decide,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you think and feel, you create, right?
Absolutely.
I can't,
Whew.
I can't look for somebody else to create it for me. I
Yeah.
can't look for somebody else to feel it for me.
No.
Everything comes from inside, and if you think it, you have to speak it.
The
You,
alchemy.
you have to act on it, right?
Absolutely.
None of those things work on their own. It has to go from thought to words to action
Mm-hmm.
in order to accomplish the things that we want out of our lives.
Marcello, if I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, this guy's so cool, I'm stalking you on LinkedIn, and I'm like, I want to do what he's doing, and I reach out to you and I'm like, hey, would you be my mentor? How do I make that happen with you? And what are your expectations for me as your mentee?
So, there's a few places that you can reach out to me, right? I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. I've got a website, marcelomedrano.com. And so you can reach out to me on any one of those platforms. They're all um, not private. What's the opposite of not private?
Public, nah.
They're public. Thank you.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, all of my platforms are public so that people can reach out to me and connect with me.
Yeah.
You know, one of my biggest expectations from somebody that I take on in mentorship is to be truthful. Just be honest.
Whew.
Just be honest.
Chills.
You know,
Uh,
when you show up at the table, you have to be willing to share who you are and what you're going through. Because if you're lying to yourself, I can't help you.
right.
You know,
Right.
I can't help you. So you have to be honest about who you are, who you want to be, where you are, and where you want to be. Right? And that's key for me.
Yeah.
That's key for me. If you can't be honest with yourself, then again, there's nothing in the world that I can do to help you. You know, I can give you all the tips and tricks in the world to help you grow, but if you're not self-aware and you're not willing to look inside you
Mm-hmm.
and understand that for you to grow, you have to do the work. I can't do it for you, right? I can only show you the door, but you have to walk through it. And so that's, if anyone that comes to me and says, "Hey, Marcelo, I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to learn the things that you know."
Yeah.
I say one thing, right? It's taken a long time to get to where I am today.
I'm writing this down.
It's taken a very long time to get to where I am today. And I'm only at the very beginning of my own growth journey, right? I will be growing for the rest of my life. And the day that I say I'm done growing is the day that I die, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're dead. If you believe that you have reached your full potential, you might as well be buried because there's nothing else for you.
That's
in this life, right? And then so, yeah, we continue growing every day. And you know what? one of the things I shared with someone recently is that if you look at the topic of personal growth on Google, you get 1.4 billion hits on the personal growth.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
so there's so much information on personal growth out there. Sometimes it's hard to focus and navigate and pinpoint
I agree.
Where to begin. So, if somebody's struggling, if somebody wants the mentorship and they want to reach out to somebody, I invite them to check out my website, check out my LinkedIn, check out my Facebook. Marcelo Medrano. You look it up on any one of those platforms, and you'll find me, and I'll be there.
And we're gonna make sure that's in the show notes, so you have no daggone excuse. He told you how to do it. He told you how to connect with him. So go to the show notes and then make sure you actually reach out, but make sure you come to work. I mean, that's huge. So having an amazing mentor, and being able to have a mentorship from someone like you, obviously that is, value add, tremendous value add. And then thinking about, okay, I have a great mentor. Well, what are some of the tools that, these mentors are using? So I ask, what is a tool that you would attribute to your success today, whether it be an application, a book, a routine, anything?
The biggest thing for me is writing things down. Right? I buy like a 6-pack of notepads from Costco because I'm constantly writing. One of the things that has been super valuable for me is when I get up in the morning, I take 5 minutes and I close my eyes and I try to visualize my day.
Yeah.
I try to visualize, who do I want to be today? How do I want to impact the people that I interact with today, whether it's my wife, my kids, my employees,
absolutely,
the stranger on the street, and I write that down. And then I do that anytime I go into a new interaction, right? I pause and I think, all right, how do I want to feel in this next moment? Because there are 1,000,001 things that can stress us out during the day. And one of the biggest ones is traffic on the Beltway.
Yep.
So, but I know that going in, right? I know before I leave my house every morning that the likelihood of there being traffic on the Beltway is high. So I leave a little bit earlier. I plan it. I visualize what it's going to look like to see all the red lights in front of me. And then I think to myself, how is my best self going to deal with that situation? And typically it's, let me throw on a podcast or, let me throw on, some calming music and just chill. Just chill, just take my time getting to work. And when I get there, I get there. But outside of that is writing everything down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that.
I read a psychology report that stated that when you think you want to do something, use the left side of your brain. When you write down that thing that you thought about, you use the right side of your brain.
Okay.
So after you're writing it down, because you've used both sides of your brain, it makes it more likely that you'll accomplish that thing. And it's not because you can go back to your notes.
Yeah.
It's just the act of writing it down that gives you that edge. It makes it more likely for you to remember it and to accomplish it. So I write everything down. And if I don't have a notepad, we have these fancy little things called smartphones.
Oh, yeah.
There's a notepad on there that you can write stuff down, type it in there, and keep track of what you're doing and who you want to be. And outside of that, there's another thing that I do, and I learned it from one of the guys I listen to, Brendan Burchard, is
big time.
I picked 3 words that I want to be me, right, for the day. And so my 3 words are empathy, energy, and engagement.
3 E's. I like it.
Yeah, and so I set that as a reminder on my phone 3 times a day. So when it comes up on my phone, the alarm goes off. It reminds me to be empathetic, energetic, and engaged with the people that I'm interacting with.
I love that.
And that's been a great tool for me, because sometimes you forget those to be those things. And when the phone comes up and reminds you, you're like, oh yeah, I need to be more engaged with this person. Let me put my phone back in my pocket, and really dive into this conversation. Or, I'm kind of down and not energetic. Let me boost myself up. Take a deep breath, run around the block one time, and get the blood flowing. Whatever it takes to be those things that I want to make sure I am every single day.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a Google alert on my phone that says build tech startup Mentorch, and I put it on the stories and stuff every once in a while. But it has that same effect for me. It's like, okay, if it's at night, and again, like hustle culture, I get it. Like work your butt off, work your face off, work all your ligaments, whatever. Um, but I definitely do relax sometimes. But what it allows me to do is it says build Mentorch. It's like 1900 to 2300 every night.
Yeah,
If I look at that and I'm watching Netflix, okay, maybe I do need a mental day. And I'm telling people out there, you will need mental days and nights. Take that time.
absolutely. Right.
But it reminds me like, oh, I should be working. So I love the fact that you're reminding yourself to be energetic, empathetic, and engaged. Like that's huge because it has to be sometimes a deliberate thing. I mean, what's the word? Entropy and chaos is actually a natural order of the universe, which
Right.
means that so once you get on a track, it is actually the natural order of the universe for you to get off that track, which is
Right.
okay. But you doing something as deliberate as having that reminder to be energetic, or excuse me, empathetic, energetic, and engaged, like that's huge. Every time you're like, is it a you said it's a smartphone update?
Well, I use an iPhone, so
I've
I just set a reminder for myself.
I love that. That's too
Yeah.
cool. Absolutely. And again, it primes you day after day. And I don't know. Like I'm trying to figure out how I get involved in one of these speaker groups, but I'm assuming like a lot of what makes these speakers great. And actually, shoot, anybody who's trying to build something is that routine. Like you need a certain routine. Yes, there's room for flexibility. You can be agile with it. You can change it up. But at the core, the focus of that routine is to keep you on track. It's to keep you moving towards your true north, so that you get to your goal. You can zig and zag. You can squirrely, all that stuff,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you're going towards a goal. So I love that reminder. I'm probably gonna take that. I'm gonna steal that. I'm letting you know already. Uh, so I won't steal your three E's. And that's great too. So anyone who's listening, it doesn't have to necessarily be the same ones that Marcelo uses, but
Right.
take the same idea. The core is what's important of what he's in the Marine Corps now. The core of that is what's important, and I love that. I'm gonna figure out what ones resonate with me as well. Those do resonate, but what ones like are specific to me, and I'm gonna make that my own. And that's the biggest piece, guys. Everyone who's listening, take those things, and Marcelo, he even alluded to it. Take those things you see from those speakers, from those mentors, from those people who are successful. It's not bad. Take the things that you're learning
Right.
from them and apply them to your own life. There's a book called The Secret, and I laugh now every time I read it. I just kind of cringe. I'm like, the funny thing about The Secret, it's ironic. It's not a secret. Like a lot of these things are not a secret, but
Right. Right.
the hardest part is doing any of it day after day. People don't want to be consistent, and full circle. They don't want to engage their brains and prime their brains every day with even something like a reminder to tell them to be empathetic, energetic, and engaged. So I love that, brother. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? You have to be intentional about your life and taking the steps you need to accomplish your goals. Right. I tell this story sometimes, and I tell people, yeah, I served in the Marine Corps for 13 years. I went to Iraq, Afghanistan. I moved up the ranks pretty quickly.
Hmm.
People are like, oh wow, you did some great things, and I said, yeah, but I was barely a mediocre Marine. and they
What?
go, Marcelo, how can you put mediocre
Yeah.
and Marine in
Yeah.
the same sentence? And I'll tell you how. I was not living intentionally.
Hmm.
I got up every day like a robot and just went through the motions, right?
Hmm.
I never thought about who I wanted to be that day, who I wanted to impact, how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to lead people. Those are not things I ever thought about. I just got up every day and kind of walked through my day,
Yeah.
watched some TV at the end of the day, and then went back to sleep and repeated it for 13 years.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, And it wasn't till after I got out and I started, reading more books and learning about intentional living
Mm-hmm.
that I realized there's a lot of work that goes into being who you want to be.
Absolutely.
Growth doesn't just happen, right? You have to make it happen for yourself. And it's great to say, oh, my 5-year goal is this, my 10-year goal is this. This is my goal at retirement.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to take time to think about every moment of our lives, because what you do now dictates where you'll be tomorrow.
100%. Absolutely.
Right? And so you have to think about who you want to be in this moment, how you want to feel, how you want to impact people, and how those are going to get you to the next step.
I love it. I love it. So thinking about what gets you to the next step and mindset, what if you do have this a poem, a short message, a part of a book passage? Do you have anything that you refer to when times are hard, or again to maintain that intentionality?
Um, I don't really have a passage or or um, or a poem,
No.
but one of the books that I would recommend for anyone that's trying to live an intentional life
Mm-hmm.
and that wants to take growth into their hands would be John Maxwell's book on the 15 invaluable laws of growth. And the very first law of growth is the law of intentionality.
Yeah.
And it basically states that growth doesn't just happen to you, right? You can't sit on your couch and binge watch Game of Thrones
What? Why not?
and expect that you're going to grow
Yeah.
and that you're going to get one step closer to your goals, right? Yeah, you have to do the work, and you have to grow yourself. So if there's one book that I would recommend, there's so many great books by
Oh, definitely.
so many great authors, but if I had to suggest one right now, it would be that one, John Maxwell's book on the 15 invaluable laws of growth.
I love it. You dropped a lot of gems, a lot of fire on the show. It's crazy that we're already to the last portion of the Past Torch podcast, which is nuts. And every time I talk to you, I think the last time was at Ignite Annapolis. They had to get together.
Right, it was that networking event.
The marketplace, yeah.
Yeah.
And we said we were gonna make this happen, and we did. And even today, just so everybody knows, full transparency, we had like crazy technical difficulties on the show today. There's static behind the show. Marcelo is being a champ. He's like, "Hey, it's cool." I'm like, "No, this is horrible." And no, this is super awesome because we got him to speak on the show. Ridiculously excited about that. We're gonna get this out. Everybody's gonna hear it this Wednesday. So when you listen to it, it's gonna be Wednesday. Just super excited. And trust me, you're going to see more Marcelo, either part of the vlog, because we're going to be in the same locations, and we're absolutely going to have him, we're going to have him back, and he's going to be doing even more stuff, because every time I see him, he's doing something, he's further progressed, and he's mentoring me too, to be quite honest. But we're at the last portion of Pass the Torch podcast. Torch holders, our guest has 1 minute to pass the torch. It doesn't have to be a minute. You're good, bro. To leave a legacy. We all know that a mentor is someone who's achieved a level of success that we desire and can effectively guide us to success as well. Based on the success you, Marcelo, have achieved at this point in your life, if you could pass the torch and leave a legacy message to your former self or anyone in a similar situation, I can't even speak, how would you pass the torch in 1 hot minute? Boom.
If I had to talk to my previous self and I would tell them, relax. Don't look at others. Don't compare yourself to other people. Right? Everyone's journey is different. Not everyone has the same struggles. Not everyone has the same capacity in certain things. So stop comparing yourself to others, but also understand that everyone else has gone through struggles. They've had their hardships, and they got to where they are today because they worked for it. And if you want the same things, you have to work for it and seek the help that you require in order to do that, right? There are people out there that are willing to help. And if you don't ask for help, you won't get it.
Right.
Right? So take your destiny into your own hands. Read, read, read. Watch videos. Reach out to those people that you want to be like and say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to do that thing that you're doing. How can you help? How can I get to the next step? Where do I begin?" Right? Ask those important questions in order to gain that level of success that you're looking for.
I love it. Oh, I think he froze. Hey, his message was so hot that that the video froze, and that takes crazy effort. No, I love that, man. Like, just super insightful. A lot of gems, guys. You can come back and gals and watch this show and listen to this show if you're in the car, if you're on a run, um, if you're doing dishes, it doesn't matter. And listen to what Marcelo is saying. And if you don't get all of the insights in one sitting, come back again and listen to it over and over because he has a lot to say. And we'll make sure that all of the books and his contacts are in the show notes. And that's it. This has been an amazing episode with Marcelo Medrano and Levante Santos on Pass the Torch podcast. And we are reminding you to seek knowledge and pass the torch.
Well,
Boom.
thank you again for having me, man.
I appreciate you for being here, brother.
All right.